So, Disney just got a new CEO in Josh D'Amaro, and I think it's fair to say that he's inheriting the company in an interesting place, at a crossroads if you will, as he's been handed the keys to the kingdom at the time where the company is rather troubled. Not only has Disney's stock dipped a bunch over the past few years compared to its heights in 2019 and 2020, but it's also going through a total restructuring focused around the use of generative AI, which so far has culminated in a billion-dollar deal with OpenAI alongside a lot of controversies. And as for what exactly happens next on this route, the ball is now in Mr. D'Amaro's court. And that's interesting, to say the least. Unlike previous CEOs, Josh D'Amaro has been very open with the Disney fan community, at least on the theme park side of things, with him recently meeting up with Tom Bricker from Disney Tourist Blog and spared 25 minutes for a chat with them and 6 of their peers. You know, it's a very small thing, but it's pretty amazing, you know? Usually CEOs are far too high and mighty to take time out of their day to actually meet with content creators, and especially to ask for their feedback. But that has kind of been the general vibe around D'Amaro as a whole, as I keep hearing anecdotal quotes that he cares about the people. According to Bricker, D'Amaro has shown this to be true time and time again, saying, after tens of thousands of cast members were laid off during the closure, D'Amaro was at downtown Disney apologizing to cast members and allowing them to vent for hours on end. He seems to very much be people first. Bricker goes on to say that D'Amaro's listening tours with employees are well known too. And it seems like pretty much every other cast member has some sort of first-hand experience with him, especially at Disneyland. This is hugely important because it comes at a perfect time, as Disney has a bit of an image problem going on as well right now. On a lot of fronts, the company has lost a lot of its goodwill. Already it's being viewed as this giant, cold, heartless conglomerate, and that was before the adoption of AI animation, which threatens to replace everyday workers who labor for the success of the company. The general public perception of the corporate giant has been less than satisfactory lately, especially when it comes to their movies. Even without all the AI stuff, it feels like there is a general atmosphere of disdain for the company. And that's kind of putting it lightly. The company has dropped flop after flop lately. For every successful Zootropolis 2, Lilo and Stitch remake, or Inside Out 2, there's been a Wish, a Strange World. And regardless of how you feel about the quality of any of these movies, it's clear that a lot of these new projects miss more than they hit. And that's a real shame. So Disney already has been struggling a little with their creative output, and then on top of all of that, the company invited a whole lot of controversy with their adoption of generative AI. Maybe Disney's rapid incorporation of AI technology into its business was in an attempt to create big projects faster. Maybe the hope was that a larger output of projects means more of those projects get a chance to land, and the projects that fail are cheaper. Disney said back in their official statement about their OpenAI deal that they intend to use the technology to build new products, tools, and experiences, including for Disney+, and also that they intend on deploying ChatGPT for its employees. But I'm pretty sure this move will not be worth it in the long term. The move to focus on AI technology like this has generated a lot of controversy. And all of this comes after the company has been trying to build itself back up post-pandemic with the return of its former CEO Bob Iger. And Disney stands at the forefront of AI integration into animation, and they're the first major animation studio of their scale to go down this rabbit hole. And this is the Disney that Josh is inheriting, officially on March 18th. I don't envy his position. Even without all the AI stuff going on, it would be a lot for him to take on. But now, Josh is in a place where he might literally be holding the soul and success of the Disney Corporation, because if Josh truly cares about people as much as it's said, he may well be the very person who can strike a balance to make sure that AI doesn't derail the hard work of the artists that are at Disney, to listen to their complaints and to hear their words. And hopefully, it's not just hear them and then chuck them away anyway. So it seems like everyone is looking towards Mr. DeMauro to break the cycle and bring radical change to Disney in some way. To bring back goodwill from fans, and to create a company culture that fosters innovation and creativity again. And of course, he has to do all of this without abandoning shareholders as well. Unfortunately. And to his credit, he has already broken out from the mold. I mean, unlike past Disney CEOs, he's not even named Bob, but more specifically, he seems to be a pretty popular choice for the role amongst Disney park enthusiasts. Because you see, DeMauro has been the chairman of Disney Experiences since 2020, and in that time, he successfully pitched publicly and began production on some major changes to the parks, including massive overhauls to existing areas with much stronger theming. If I was a theme park channel specifically, I'd go into the details. I've tested the waters in that direction. We don't need to worry about all the fine details on that one. But the point is, they were very well received, so a lot of people seem to be in his corner at the moment. Or at the very least, he represents a change from the Bob Iger regime, which is probably always a plus. That being said, whilst Disney's theme parks are an important part of their business, I'm of course far more interested in their actual animation department. Sure, perhaps the parks are the single most important pin that has been holding the company up in recent years financially, but Disney as a brand is far more than just their parks. And we have no metric yet for how a DeMauro-run animation department will be. But the general worry is that DeMauro's administration of the company will be the one that trades out the human heart of animation for AI. It may have been set in motion under Iger, but DeMauro will be the ones holding the cards now. And so inevitably, it is up to him how this technology is used and where animation in this company goes. No matter what, Disney is tied, unfortunately now, to OpenAI because, well, they did just invest $1 billion into the company. They can't exactly abandon it, can they? I'm sure they don't want to really have that investment money go to waste anyway. Now's certainly not the time for it. So in some form, I do imagine AI technology will be used by Disney and with DeMauro at the helm, but it's up to DeMauro exactly what form it takes. And here's where the optimism comes in. We do actually have a direct quote with DeMauro's take on AI, and he does speak optimistically about the new technology, but the technology he talks about is vague. The line we have here is, "Hey there, thank you for making it to the halfway mark of this video. Come subscribe if you haven't already for more AI animation news. We'll do a follow-up on Josh DeMauro and see how Disney's handling AI. Fingers crossed it's good news from here. We'll see." Anyway, on to the second half of this video now. The line we have here is, "We are 100 years old, but we're 100 years young as well. Willing to embrace new technology, new creators, and new markets. That willingness to change and take risks is what keeps the brand going. And it's something I intend to continue to push on." Now that's great and all, but I want to hear what he specifically has to say about generative AI here. And maybe the fact that he's being vague is entirely the point. Ultimately, for someone like me, it's not the parks that make me care about the company at all. I want Disney to just create good movies. And that is true for a lot of other people. Plenty of folks can't afford to go on to the parks, or in my case, it's not on the same island as me. It's either Disneyland Paris, or I've got to go well overseas to America. Can't imagine which fate is worse. Given how immediate and personal the film side of things is, it's kind of hard for me to be invested in the theme park side of the business in the same way as animated films. Especially when I'm an animation film YouTuber. Kind of comes with some priorities, you know? And despite the many successes of the parks, a lot of the discussion around Disney has been really negative lately. In large part because the film part of their business has been struggling. Look at Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and Disney's main studio originals, both live action and animated, and across the board we can see that they've been struggling this past decade to keep up with the quality of what they put out in the last. And this is maybe the biggest problem that Josh DeMauro really needs to solve to get the company back to the heights it was in 2019 pre-pandemic. Generative AI might be seen as a way to reduce the cost of films, but it's not going to increase the quality. Heavy AI use is just going to cheapen the value of going to see a Disney film. And a fully AI-generated Disney film? Well, that's practically just slop. I can't imagine a string of AI films will have much value to the consumer at all. An over-reliance on AI technology to replace the human storytellers and animators that built the company will certainly degrade the films and the rest of the business. It's the obvious incoming red flag if Josh decides to stay on this path. Bob Iger's push for AI investments suggests he saw AI as the solution to the quality problem that Disney have been having. But I personally think it might be the opposite. The final nail in the coffin that makes general audiences turn away fully from Disney in the box office. Disney has an image problem, and this can't be helping. Or perhaps in an ironic twang, maybe the very reason Disney is investing into AI right at the end of Bob Iger's run is so that he can take a risky move and take the fall for it, as any controversies that rise in this corner can disappear with Iger himself stepping down. Perhaps it's all a fake out anyway to see how people feel about it, as Mr. DeMauro now runs the show. His goal should be to make the shareholders happy and to make the consumers happy too. To do the first, he needs to make a lot of money. To do the second, he needs to drive the creation of high quality, cherished products. It's a lot to balance. And while DeMauro is known for being a people person who sees employees as individuals, well, the bar is kinda low, there is another side to him. DeMauro was in charge of Disney parks as they gutted several quality of life features to make way for increased monetization. The most egregious example to me is the introduction of the Lightning Lane, a premium paid replacement for Disney's Fast Pass and Genie Plus programs. While it is the role of the executive to be efficient and to try to optimize profits, the true test of DeMauro as the new Disney CEO will come with how he manages his employees. More specifically, it will come in the terms of what he chooses to prioritize given the opportunity to replace humans with AI. Especially if AI is able to save some money. Will he protect the human workforce, recognizing the importance of their hand-produced work? Or will he cut corners with this new technology? Because that ultimately is what this whole generative AI debate is about. People need to work to make money to live, and the employees at Disney have lives outside of their work. They are much more than just the things they make and manage. Everyone at the company, from the creatives and entertainers to the accountants and lawyers, are people, not just cogs in a corporate machine. Their perspectives are inherently valued, and especially regarding creatives, they bring their unique perspective to their work every day. That's what makes Disney Disney. Trying to automate them away is futile. Whilst it's often possible for an AI to do the work of a human employee, so much is lost in that replacement. It's not one-to-one. Something is lost in the process of that transition. Something major. Because AI works mindlessly. While it's true that AI has far less needs, and might even cost less compared to human workers, it also has no personal experience. No unique spark to bring to the table. It's trained on tons of human art and information, but by its nature, homogenized. Disney and the animation industry as a whole was built on the backs of great animators and writers, musicians, artists, storytellers. We might see them as giants now, but they were people. Their hard work is the reason the company got to where it is at this point, and even if Disney has been struggling to make movies that resonate lately, the solution should not be to try phasing them out, especially not for chasing a quick buck or seeking a little more efficiency. Because great art and design as a process is not efficient, it's iterative. It takes conversations, debate, and opinions, and it takes care and passion. And for all of the utility AI might have for the company, it cannot feel. It can't do what a human does. And even if it could, it's not a person. It's an object. It doesn't have personal needs. You know, the stuff outside of work. Having a life, needing to pay the bills, having a family or people that depend on it. It's just an unthinking conglomerate. The true test of DeMauro as CEO is, When faced with the option to replace his employees with AI, whether he chooses to do so for a slight increase in short-term profit, or to prioritize the people and avert the course. Because ultimately, the employees prioritized today will be the employees that take the helm of the company's future. It is important that Damaro be invested in the human side of things, because if he does not, if he integrates AI within the workflow at the cost of existing or new employees, I honestly think it could be the very last domino that falls, leading to the inevitability of the company's decay and downfall into irrelevancy. It really is a matter of this new CEO is possibly the make or break. Bob Iger could easily be the fall guy on this, and ironically right now, before he started, is the most amount of optimism I've seen for Disney in a while. But I guess we'll just have to see which option he takes come round to March 18th and onwards. Perhaps right now, if Damaro's being intentionally vague to read the room on how people feel about AI, it's exactly callouts like this that could influence him to steer away from the more robotic outputs of creativity. He does have a history of listening to the fans, after all. But on that note, I guess I'd finally better end it off there. Whew. My name's been Daz. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do tell us your thoughts on Disney as it changes CEOs. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and more, but otherwise, I shall see you all in a little bit. Cheerio.